So today I want to talk to you about the most important thing in the world. It's about being saved. And I want you to understand that the whole reason Jesus came here on earth is so that you could be saved. The entire reason that he died on the cross is for you and for me, for Hope, and for the whole world to be saved. And so I want to explain to you what this means. So, first of all, you cannot be saved until you are lost. No one can get saved until you are, what was the word I just said, Hope?
Lost.
You have to be lost before you can be saved. Now, I want to explain what that means, and then in just a minute, Hope and I are going to illustrate that, okay? So, first of all, we all have a body. When we're born, everybody sees the body, and they count your fingers and your toes and talk about how cute you are. Now, but your body is not everything. You also have inside of you a soul. Now, your body, just like it was born one day, is going to die one day. But when your body dies, your soul does not die. Your soul continues to live. But the day that you are lost, something's going to happen in your soul that's going to be different. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And Hope's going to help me as we illustrate this, okay? So, when you become lost, your soul is separated from God. Now, Hope is going to be a regular person, and I'm going to be acting out as if I'm God, okay? So, Hope, you remember what we're going to do? Okay, so here's how it works. There comes a day when your soul will be separated from God. Okay, go ahead. Now, on that day, God is going to talk directly to your heart. And it's probably going to be different from anything you've ever felt in your whole life. And so I'm going to use a little bell to represent God talking to your heart, okay? So here you are. You're just playing. It's a regular day. Maybe you're playing with a doll. And all of a sudden, you hear God talk to your heart. Now, at that moment, you get to decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to ignore God, or are you going to respond to God? Now, the right thing would be to respond to God. So Hope, let's illustrate the right thing. Ready? She's playing with her doll. It's a normal day. But all of a sudden, God talks to her heart. Will she decide to do the right thing or the wrong thing? Now, the right thing would be to come to God, to put down what you're doing. Come to God. Get right down at His feet. And at that point, you need to repent. And what that means is you need to pray and ask Him to forgive you. So, Hope, you did the right thing. You came to God. Now, what should you do?
God, I'm sorry. Will you please forgive me?
And you know what God will do? He'll forgive her. That's right. He'll lift her up and He'll save her soul. Now, this is the right way to respond when you hear God talk to your heart. Now, I want you to go back, okay? It's a normal day, and you realize you're separated from God, and this time, you're going to do the wrong thing, okay? So, Hope you listen. So, all of a sudden, she becomes lost, and she knows it because God's talking to her heart. But she's decided this time she's going to ignore God. And instead of coming to God, she's moving away from God. But God's going to keep talking to her heart. And each time He talks, she decides, will she respond to God or will she ignore Him? If she ignores Him, she's moving even further away from God. But God, because He loves her, He's going to keep talking to her. And so He rings that bell again. And she decides when she hears it again, will she follow God or will she ignore? And then God calls you again. And notice, in her bad decision, she's getting further and further away from God. And you know what? The further you get from God, the harder your heart gets. And it's hard to even hear Him when He's calling. But if you decide one day you're going to come to God, here's a wrong way to do it.
Sorry.
God's not going to listen to that. You can't come to God with a half-hearted apology. No, you've got to lay everything down. You've got to say, I don't want these things. I want God. And you have to pray to Him with sincere heart until He saves you.
I'm sorry, God. Will you please forgive me?
You know what? He might save you that first time you say that. But you may not have gotten through to God. You may have to pray longer.
I'm sorry, God. Would you please forgive me?
You know what? When you pray to God's satisfaction, that's when He's going to pick you up and He's going to save your soul. Now, is there a certain prayer that you're supposed to say? No, I can't tell you the words to say. What I can say is you have to pray with your whole heart. You know what? This shirt is the perfect shirt because when you're born, you have a pure heart. And you're not accountable for your sin. If you died as a little baby, you'd go straight to heaven. But there comes a day when you're lost. And all of a sudden, your heart is not clean anymore. And you've got to be saved. And when you get saved, look what happens. You've got a pure heart, and it'll be that way always. Oh, Pepsi, I want to tell you one more thing, okay? When God knocks on your heart, He's asking you to come back. Come back to Him. And I want to read one verse to you. It comes from the book of Revelation. It's in chapter 3, verse 20. And this is Jesus talking. And He says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come to him." So guys, when God knocks at the door of your heart, don't leave it closed. Open the door to God, and He will come into your